Hello students, in the present lecture we are focusing taxation of company. For that purpose, present lecture is concerned with the term company, features of joint stock company, Companies Act 2013, comparison of Companies Act 1956 and 2013, and lastly we are going to learn types of companies. We know that there are various forms of business organization, of which a company form of business organization is popular all over the world. As per the Company Act, the company is defined as a person. As per Income Tax Act, companies treated as a person, as well as per Goods and Services Tax, a company is also concerned or considered as a person. A company is an artificial person, invisible person, intangible, and existing only in the contemplation of law. Therefore, company has properties which are characteristics of its creation, confirms upon or is either expressed in its existence. Though company is an artificial person created by law, it has separate existence and properties. Company is a group of people who contributes towards it in terms of money and share the profit or loss arising as a result. It is a kind of investment which comes with its own risk. So, consider this new meaning of company. Company is a group of persons, or company is a group of people who contributes towards it in terms of money and share profit or loss arising as a result. It is one kind of investment which comes with its own risk. Under Companies Act 2013, a company may be formed for any lawful purpose, that is very important, by 7 or more members to incorporate a public company. For forming public limited company, minimum 7 members are required. There is no limit on maximum number of membership. But in case of private company, minimum 2 members are required and maximum 50 members are required. For a single person, as one person company, that is OPC, this is new type came in Companies Act 2013. The company must subscribe its name into memorandum and must comply with all registration requirements under the Companies Act 2013. So, a company has required to register as per the procedure laid down in the Companies Act 2013. Now we are focusing what are the features of joint stock company. A joint stock company is a group of people who contributes in terms of money and bearing risk arising from it. So public money is to be utilized for doing lawful business. So we are discussing about features of joint stock company. A company is a legal entity. Every company is formed as per the legal procedure laid down in the Companies Act 2013. So it is entity having legal existence. In case of joint stock company, there is a separation between ownership and management. Equity shareholders are owners of the company. They scattered all over the country. They do not participate in day-to-day management of a company. They appoint their representative called as board of directors and they manage the company. A joint stock company can raise a large amount of capital by issuing its shares, the main source of fund. In case of a company is arised by issuing its own shares, so it is termed as share capital. A company can own, enjoy, and dispose of a property in its own name. A company's name is considered for disposal of property, own of the property, and enjoy of the property. A company has perpetual existence. A company is formed for working long lasting period, so it has perpetual existence. The main important feature of a joint stock company is that limited liability of shareholder or members. In case of partnership firm, the liability of partners is unlimited. But in case of joint stock company, liability of shareholders or members is limited. A company is an artificial legal person. It is not natural person, it is artificial person. A company is voluntary organization. Those who are interested to invest money in company, they came by way of contributing money to the company by purchasing shares of that company. Therefore, a company is voluntary organization. A company has common seal. It can use for various purposes. Transferability of shares. Members of joint stock company are free to transfer their shares to anyone. There is no question of heredity. There is no question of nominee. Nominee, according to new provisions, now there is a need to appoint nominee. But shareholders of a company can transfer his shares to anyone. So that is the very important feature of the company, that is transferability of shares. The risk of losses. To make investment in shares, that is risky factor, but that is also essential for getting proper return on it. The risk of losses in company is borne by all shareholders or members. Now we are considering comparison between Companies Act 1956 and Companies Act 2013. In Companies Act 1956, there were 658 sections, but in Companies Act 2013, there are 470 sections. In Companies Act 1956, there were 15 schedules. In Companies Act, there are 7 schedules. In Companies Act 1956, there were 13 parts. In Companies Act 2013, there are 29 chapters. So this is a comparison of Companies Act 1956 and Companies Act 2013. Sections are reduced, schedules are reduced, and chapters are introduced instead of parts in Companies Act 2013. So we are also focusing Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 is an act of the Parliament of India on Indian company law. This is Companies Act 2030 is passed by the Parliament of India about the Indian company, which regulates incorporation of company, responsibilities of company, directors, dissolution of company. In this act, many things are covered like regulations regarding incorporation of company, responsibilities of company, especially social responsibilities of company, directors positions and status and qualification like this covered under this, dissolution of a company. So Companies Act 2013 territorial extent is India. It means that Companies Act 2013 is applicable to whole India. This act is enacted by Parliament of India, assented to 29th August 2013, signed by President of India on 29th August 2013, and it actually came into force with effect from 12 September 2013. So up to this level, up to 2021, 8 years have been completed by that act. Companies Act 2013, Section 2, Clause 20 defines the term company as follows. Company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. That is very important. In Companies Act 2013, the definition of company is given as company means any company incorporated in India under this act or under any previous company law. The Minister of Corporate Affairs (MCA) is preliminarily concerned with the administration of the Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 was introduced to ease the process of doing business in India and improving corporate governance. So, in order to bring corporate governance, this act is very useful. This act also providing guidelines about how to easily do the process of business. The main objectives of Companies Act 2013 are to promote the interest of the investors by furnishing fair and accurate information in the prospect. Generally, shareholders or owners or members invest money for doing company business. So, the first objective of the Companies Act 2013 emphasize on the interest of investors by providing them fair and accurate information in the prospect. To promote transparency and high standards of corporate governance. The main important objective of this act to promote transparency and standards of corporate governance. To put strict restrictions on inside trading activities. Trading is very essential to employees of the company as well as directors of the company because trading relates to development. Development is possible through training. So training cannot be separated from development. Highlights of the Companies Act 2013 that should be taken into account for our understanding, for our information. In this Companies Act 2013, new things are incorporated like concept of woman director, corporate social responsibility CSR, key managerial personnel KMP, class action suits, entrenchment clause in the articles of association are new concepts introduced by the Companies Act 2013. It also introduced new types of companies like one person company. One person company is incorporated in Companies Act 2013. Small company, associate company, new concept of dormant company has also been used in the Companies Act 2013. Provision of visual mechanism has been added by this act. The term promoter has been there in the earlier act, but this act defined it. It means that the definition of promoter is given in the Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 has also defined the term fraud in the explanation attached to section 447. The Companies Act 2013 has undergone amendments in 2015, 2017, 2019 and by Amendments Act 2020. These are the highlights of the Companies Act 2013. Now we are going to discuss types of companies. For that purpose, firstly, we have classified companies according to certain criteria. Company forms of businesses have become immensely popular all over the years. A company form of business organization is popular all over the world because of the liability of members is limited. So, in the present age, most of businesses are in the form of companies. Their development has led to the creation of so many new types of companies. Companies are to be classified on the basis of liabilities, members on the basis of control. Classification of different types of company is given below. So basically there are major two types of companies: public limited companies and private limited companies. But in the new act, new types of companies are considered. So firstly, see classification on the basis of liabilities. Companies classification on the basis of liabilities. Companies limited by shares. Companies limited by guarantee. And unlimited companies. These are three types of companies on the basis of liabilities. Hence, by considering the nature of liabilities, there are three types of companies: companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, unlimited companies. Second part, that is B part, companies on the basis of members. On the basis of members, there are three types of companies: one person companies, that is newly introduced in the Companies Act 2013, private companies and public companies. Private companies are the companies which are incorporated by its members. Minimum two members required for formation of private companies, and there is less restriction on maximum number, that is 50 members. But in case of public companies, minimum 7 members are required for formation of public limited company, and there is no restriction on number of memberships. Companies on the basis of control. By, by considering controlling matter, there are following types of companies: holding companies and subsidiary companies. Holding company is a company who acquires the shares of another company more than 51%. Subsidiary companies are the companies from whom shares were purchased by holding company. Then associate companies. Associate companies is also new type of companies covered under the Companies Act 2013. Also, we are considering classification of company in terms of access to capital. Listed companies and unlisted companies. Listed companies are those companies which are listed on any stock exchange. Unlisted companies are the companies of which shares are not listed in stock exchange. Other types of companies. Government companies are the companies in which the capital is invested by the government. Foreign companies are the companies which are incorporated outside India. Charitable companies, that companies are came into exist for charitable purposes. Dormant companies. This is the classification of the companies. Also other types covers Nidhi companies, public finance institutions, statutory companies, registered companies, and chartered companies. So we have considered the classification of the companies on the basis of liability, on the basis of membership, on the basis of access to capital, on the basis of listing and on the basis of other types. We consider the various types of companies. These classification again considered under types of companies. Same things, same types, same classification is incorporated here. It means that we learned the classification of companies on the basis of liabilities, on the basis of membership, number of membership, on the basis of access to capital, on the basis of listing, and other type of companies. So by considering these things, we are putting here types of companies, the same companies which are shown under classification of companies, they are also considered under types of companies. There are different types of companies, and we are considering here the provisions and the types of companies as laid down in the Companies Act 2013. So in this act, as per this act, following are the various types of companies. Companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, unlimited companies, one person companies, that is OPC, private companies, public companies, holding and subsidiary companies, associate companies, listed companies, unlisted companies, government companies, foreign companies, charitable companies, dormant companies, needy companies, public finance companies or institutions, statutory companies, registered companies, and chartered companies. These are the types of companies. In this way, our syllabus is over. There are 4 chapters, but we are covered 3 chapters, and the questions will be asked on these 3 chapters. First chapter is Introduction to Income Tax. Another chapter is Introduction to Goods and Services Tax, and last chapter is Taxation of Companies. So we are going to conduct online MCQ type examination for all papers of semester 2 as well as semester 1 for backlog students. Follow the rules and regulations laid down by our autonomous college for the purpose of examination. Appear examination with full confidence. Develop your thinking power. Try to study more and more. Read more and more literature about the syllabus of various subjects and then appear to exam. Definitely you will get highest score in coming exam if you are studied properly. So this is all about the syllabus of semester 2 of the paper Advanced Accountancy, that is taxation, paper number 4. So this we have entirely covered the syllabus of this paper. On this syllabus, 25 questions are to be asked having multiple choice nature. There is no scheme of reduction in marks if your answer is wrong. So try to solve all questions correctly. Then, so here is syllabus, our syllabus is over and finished. I will also conduct on Sunday 26 September 2021 awareness lecture about the MCQ examination of this paper at 9:30 a.m. So link of that, it will be conducted through Zoom meeting. Link will be supplied to you very immediately. So this is, that is, awareness program is our last lecture, and then you have to appear to examination. In this way, I am concluding my speech here. Thank you.